Well, hello, good morning. My name is Sam Noases. Well, I'm here to tell you about what is XML and what is the syntax. That means how we would write this XML. Okay. Well, mhm. Well, XML is nothing but extensible markup language. It is uh, it is actually similar with HTML. Okay, and with the help of XML, we could store and then transport the data. And and actually this XML is self-descriptive, means we can write our own tags and we could use them. And here we can see the uses of XML. It simplifies the data exchange procedure. It eases means it here we can see that the tags are reusable, and here we can see uh, these applications also, and here we can see the differences between HTML and XML. Uh, XML is means here we can define the tags in the way we want, but in HTML it is predefined tags. So in this HTML, we means we could not do it as our wish, but in XML we can use these tags, and we can use it uh, in the way we want. And the XML is case sensitive, and HTML is not case sensitive. And in XML, we can write our own root element, but in HTML, the root element is HTML only. Okay, and here we can see the advantages of XML. Um, it simplifies data sharing, it simplifies data transport, uh, and so on. Okay, and here we can see the syntax of XML. Here the first line is known as XML prologue. This is default, means we can write it if we want only. And okay, and this texting is the root element, and only we should write all the means we should write what we want to do in between these root elements only. Okay, and the syntax rules. Okay, all XML elements must have a closing tag. XML tags are case sensitive, like I said before, and XML elements must be nested properly, and XML documents must have a root element. See here we can see here in this example the text is known as the root element. Okay, and we should write whatever we want between the starting root tag between the starting root tag and the ending root tag. And XML attribute values must be quoted. Means here we can see here this UTF hyphen 8 is in brackets. So so whatever attributes we want must be in those the- in those inverted brackets. Okay, and tags and elements. The XML tags begin with the less than character, and with the greater than character. Okay, and this is the starting tag, and the ending tag must be means it should have less than character, and then a slash, and then the greater than character. Okay, see here here are some of the rules that we should keep in mind while writing these elements. Here we can see that, okay, the first rule is the elements may not overlap. An end tag must always have the same name as the most recent unmatched start tag. See here in the first set of code, we can see that function, person, president, and slash function. This is not right because here before the president, there's a tag, like there's a person tag. So we should use, so we should end that per person tag, and then only we can use and then only we can write function can tag here. The yeah, that below is the correct syntax of that. And uh, an XML document has exactly one root element as a result of the following example. Okay, here see, uh, in this in this last two lines, we can see that there are only just two pieces of code, but that's wrong. So means there is no root element, but here we can see that x is the root element, and then slash x is the ending root element. Okay, so whatever we'll do in XML, we should include in those two root elements only. Okay, and here means in this third thing we can see that uh, there is case sensitive problem. Means in the starting tag he gave small a, whereas in the ending tag he gave capital A, so that's wrong. So to avoid this problem, we can see we can use this thing, that HR slash thing. So as to avoid this problem, maybe we can use that thing. Thanks.
Hello, my name is Tanik Prashant. Today, I'm going to discuss about XML attributes, references, and text. Today, we are going to discuss about XML attributes. XML attributes are similar to HTML attributes. In addition to marking the beginning of an element, XML start tags also provide a place to specify attributes. An attribute specifies a single property for an element using a name or value pair. Name or value pair is nothing but an attribute name or attribute value pair. Attribute values must always be quoted. Like here, we see that it is a URL, HTTP. It is quoted. It is an attribute value, and they are defined as a name or value pairs. Attribute values are enclosed in quotation marks that we discussed earlier. Attribute is the property setting of an element. One very well-known example of an attribute is href. href. It is used inside the opening tag to specify additional information to tags such as size, width, etc. So how do we decide what to put as attribute or tag? Attribute value can't be displayed or manipulated. So metadata goes into attributes. Metadata is nothing but data that provide information about the other data. In this example, the content of the A element is the text Yahoo. The attribute href provides extra information about the element, which gets us the output as Yahoo. If we click the text Yahoo, then we go to the web page, which goes to the browser, and we can browse the web page. Every attribute assignment consists of two parts that we discussed earlier. That is attribute name. For example, in the previous example, it is href, and the attribute value, that is URL name. There are few rules to remember about XML attributes. There are few rules we must know when applying XML attributes. They are: XML is case sensitive, unlike HTML. That is, we can't use capital href instead of small href. Here, href, capital href, and small href refer to two different XML attributes. So we should carefully write the attribute names when writing an XML document or XML when we are writing XML. Second, spaces are not allowed in names, that is in attribute names. Third, names can't start with string XML. Fourth, names must start with the letter or an underscore when writing an XML format. Fifth, you may not provide the two values for the same attribute. That is, if we write this, we can see that here B is an attribute name. So we can't provide two attribute values for the same attribute names. So it is not well formed because the B attribute is specified twice and it has two attribute values. Third, attribute names should never appear in quotation marks, but attribute values should always be appear in quotation marks. The following example is not well formed because there are no delimiters around the value of the B attribute. We can see here, it is a, here B is a attribute name. Here the attribute value do not have any quotation marks. So references always begins with the character ampersand and ends with the character semicolon. Here reference is nothing but in C or C++ we read about pointers. In pointer we send the address, that is in the symbol and symbol or ampersand symbol. That's the reference symbol. That's the reference starting symbol. So in this case also reference always begins with the character ampersand and ends with the character semicolon. References, XML references are of two types, entity references and character references. First, I'll discuss about entity references. Entity references. An entity reference like ampersand AMP, which we can see here. See here, and here the reference, entity reference is started with and symbol and AMP. AMP is nothing but ampersand, and this is the semicolon, which is quoted with the double quotes. Which contains AMP contains a name between the start and delimiters. Here start delimiter is nothing but ampersand and end delimiter is nothing but a semicolon. In between those, it have a name which is nothing but we use as XML references for the XML document. Some characters have a special meaning in XML. If we place a less than symbol inside an XML element, it generates an error. To avoid this error, replacing the less than character with an entity reference, that is, we'll discuss it in the next slides, ampersand LT semicolon. Entity reference contains a name between the start and end delimiters. Here, the second type of XML reference, character references. Character references. These contain references such as ampersand, hash, 65 or 38. It's our wish, but it contains a hash instead of name and follows by a number. It's same as entity reference, but it contains a hash mark followed by a number. The number always refers to the Unicode code of character, or we can say it as ASCII code, such as 60, here 65 or 38. It refers to the, if we refer to the ASCII code, it refers to any alphabet or any letter. For take example, if we take %# 65 65 is the number, so it always refers to Unicode code of a character. In this case, 65 refers to alphabet A. If we check the ASCII code, we can get that. So if we refer ASCII code or Unicode code, the number 65 refers to alphabet A. By putting any ASCII value or Unicode value, we will get the output accordingly. For advanced users, XML provides a mechanism for declaring our own entities, but that is outside the scope of this tutorial. XML also provides 5 pre-declared entries that you can use, or we can use to escape special characters in an XML document. These are the 5 pre-declared entities we can use in our XML document. Here, if we use these 5 not allowed characters in an XML document, it generates an error. To avoid this error, replacing these not allowed characters with these replacement entities, we can avoid this error. Here, the character description for these replacement entities are given. AMP is nothing but ampersand. APOS is nothing but single quote or apostrophe. GT, or we can say that greater than. LT, less than. QUOT, or we can also call it as double quote. These are the replacement entities we use in XML document to avoid error. If we use these not allowed characters in our XML document, it generates an error. Next, XML text. If we are working with 8-bit characters, you can usually type printing characters from the 7-bit, non-accented. Non-accented means having no diacritical mark using of a word, syllable, or a letter. Diacritical mark means acute accent, grave accent. These are the examples I'm giving. Diacritical mark examples. So US ASCII characters are directly into an XML document, except for special characters. That is, we discussed in the previous slide that less than, greater than, ampersand symbol, single quote. So these are the special characters these are the special characters we should to be known of. The names of XML elements and XML attributes are case sensitive, which we discussed earlier. Names of the start and end elements need to be written in same case. That is, if we are starting the start element of the name in capital symbol, then we have to end the name of the end element in that capital symbol. Or if you are starting with small letters, then we should end the end elements also in the small letters. So to avoid character encoding problems, all XML files should be saved as Unicode, UTF-8 or UTF-16 files. UTF-8 or UTF full form is Unicode Transformation Format. Here it is a brief example. We can see here the start tag formula and the end tag formula. Here X is, here it is the replacement entity, which is nothing but the less than entity. Here we use an LT semicolon in place of less than symbol. So here we can see that for less than symbol using ampersand LT semicolon, for greater than we use GT, and for ampersand we use ampersand AMP semicolon. White space characters like blanks, tabs, and line breaks between XML elements and between XML attributes will be ignored in the XML text. So here, by default, XML uses UTF-8 for 8-bit character encoding rather than ISO 8859/1. By default, HTML and many operating systems uses ISO 88591. In escape sequences, these are used to represent character codes. UTF-8 XML document. We can't simply use a single byte with the decimal value 233 to represent. This is nothing but acute E-acute, which is a predefined E-acute entity as there in HTML. Instead of using, we must use UTF-8 multi-byte escape sequences instead of using a single byte escape sequences. Or using a special kind of XML reference called a character reference, which we have discussed earlier. This is the example. Here we are using a decimal value 233 to represent our E-acute when our text consists primarily of unaccented Roman characters. This is often the easiest way to escape the occasional accented or non-Roman characters. Unaccented means having no diacritical mark. Accented means having diacritical mark. Since E-acute appears at position 233 in Unicode, the XML parser will read this following string as that is everyone's favorite calf, and this is the string. This is the string which XML parser reads. So I think we got a brief discussion about XML references, attributes in text. Thank you.